Well, I think our fall was pretty good as far as with as many new guys as we had coming in. We had to kind of figure out a culture, figure out an identity. We're getting there. Spring training's been really competitive from an offensive standpoint. The pitching, I think, with the lack of experience that we've got, we're still trying to figure out who's where and all those things. I think we have the pieces. We just haven't quite figured out the puzzle yet. But the weather's been great. We've been able to get out there quite a bit. We missed a Tuesday spring training game yesterday, but that's really the only one that we've missed. So we've been able to stay on schedule and be as prepared as we can be going into the weekend.
Guys, we'll just jump right into it with questions. So, like we normally do, we'll do the hand raise function. We'll start off, Colton, with your first question.
You talked about all the new pitchers. You have about only 3 returning. What's it been like though? Through the fall and spring, kind of piecing everything like that together.
Well, I think our identity of a pitching staff hasn't changed. We've just had to get guys on board. In learning how to master routines, get yourself prepared to go out and compete at your best and those kind of things. But, I think we've had guys, wherever they've came from, they've had success. So it's very similar to, guys like to win. So it's just been making it competitive, getting them into our culture as far as being strike pumpers and pitch makers. And we're getting there.
Coach, on the bat and glove side, if you will, and the hitting and the fielding, just you return a handful of starters from a year ago, lost a lot from your lineup. Just how has that been a challenge, and just how much are you going to be leaning on that veteran presence to guide you through the season?
Well, it's always good to have some guys returning that have played in some key positions between Jason and Blake Brown, Hunter Autry, Brady Christensen. Those guys have been experienced. They've kind of been through the fight. The guys coming in have really kind of established some roles. We're excited about Addison Smith and Ty Marthel Johnny. We've kind of been hit on the injury bug a little bit. Caleb Cotton's going to be out all year. And then we lost a freshman, kind of a utility guy. So the pieces are there, but those older guys have really done a good job of setting the tone and kind of understanding how this thing's supposed to look.
Yeah, Coach, you guys bring in a really talented freshman class. Sam Lee, who was originally committed to Arkansas, some guys from the Tomball State title team. How many of them can we expect to contribute this year, and are they kind of in the mix for some starting spots in the rotation and in the field?
Yeah, Sammy had a really good fall. He's had a good spring training. Parker Blackman has also kind of set himself in a position to play. Brady's been banged up, so it kind of depends on where he's going to be in the outfield opening day. But between those two guys, I think they're going to get a lot of opportunity on the front end. Tate Hickman is another freshman arm that we're really excited about. I think we'll probably start him on Saturday. We still got a couple of days here just to see how guys are bouncing back and stuff like that. So haven't quite set the entire rotation. But that freshman group, I think they've learned how to win through the past. They've played competitive high school games, showcase games. They've played all over the circuit and those kind of things. So nothing, the lights won't be too bright or anything like that. There'll be some learning curves like there always are for freshmen, but that group's ultra aggressive and they like to compete.
Over to Colton.
This is kind of the first time since you got here that you've had a complete roster turnover. What was it like just kind of rebuilding that roster and kind of going out recruiting to build the program back up?
Oh, it's always a challenge. I think in today's world, you never really know what you have anymore. It's different, but you still have to identify your types of players. And they may or may not be the most what you'd call ranked or high profile, or whatever that looks like. But we still have an identity, and those are the players that we go after. It's exciting. It's always kind of fun when you have to start over and – tell them to tie their shoes and wear spikes and they have to put a belt on for practice versus guys that have been here for 4, 5, 6 years where you have to get creative on different ways because nothing's new for them. So we have a lot of newness, a lot of willingness or open-eyed as far as what this thing's going to look like, and I think we've got a good core of guys coming back that have been through it, that have had success, and they've really done a good job of bringing the new guys along.
Carlos again.
Coach, looking at Missouri State, a team that went 23-34 last year, 11-16 in the Missouri Valley, and they'll be moving to Conference USA next season. So you get a first quick look at them. Just some thoughts on the opening series and how they're going to match up with your squad.
They're a good club. They're a really good club. Record doesn't dictate, I think, how talented they are. They're returning quite a bit of offense. They're a little bit like us. They have some pitching back, a little bit more than we do, but they're a good club. They played a very hard schedule last year, so they're going to be gristled up, battle-tested, and this is a heck of an opening weekend for us. It'll be exciting to kind of see what a future Conference USA opponent looks like. Those always feel like they're changing, but it's going to be good. It'll be a fun series. But they're going to be good. They have a lot of hitting back, a lot of hitters. I think it's like 65 or 70 jacks coming back. So, we're going to have to play well for sure.
Ben Sorrells.
Yeah, Ryan Peterson was the guy that stepped into a big role there at the end of last year. How has he developed this offseason, and what kind of role might he have for the 2025 season?
Well, Petey's going to go out on Friday. We already kind of know that. The exciting part is there are a lot of tendencies that he has or whatever that are very similar to the guys that we've had in the past that have pitched on Friday night, that some of them are still pitching. Very professional, goes about his business in the right way, and it's always fun when you've had a guy win a state championship and as a quarterback. So he loves to compete. He's still going to learn how to pitch. He's a sophomore. He didn't get a lot of experience last year, but he has the makings of a guy that can be very, very successful, very efficient. He's a strike pumping machine.
Back over to Colton.
Sometimes happy stories kind of get sad, and Walker goes 32nd to the Astros. Now you have a wide open spot there at the catcher position. What have you kind of seen from those three guys to step up and take over that role?
From an experience level, Ty Marthel-Johnny and Grant Nodelman have kind of separated on that side of it. And really, one's a right-handed hitter, one's a left-handed hitter. I see us probably doing a little bit of matchup there, if not using one of them as a DH. I think it's always a reflection of your program when you have high draft picks and you're competing in those things. But it's our job to develop the next wave of guys coming in. And those guys have the makings to be big pieces to our offense and definitely our pitching staff.
Carlos.
We've talked a lot about the starters, but just back into the bullpen, how is that going to look in this opening weekend and really through the season to help you try and shut down ball games?
Yeah. I think we have a pretty good puzzle pieces in Garrett Ballman, Cam Diaz. Felix Schled's going to be kind of a long guy, I think, right now. The left-handers, Connor Zaruba's coming off of surgery. He's going to be healthy. It's going to be, in the piece. We're a little bit light on the left-handed side of the mound, but I think we have some pieces in there. Cole Marthel-Johnny, it's the first time I've ever coached twins, so I tend to get those guys goofed up. But, I think he's in the mix of it as well. So it's really going to have to be a combination of a puzzle piece to kind of get through the 27 outs. And I think we can build off of guys and pitch off of, one guy's success or be able to kind of flip it a little bit just from a look standpoint or a stuff standpoint.
Colton again.
Hunter Autry is going to be probably the biggest bat returning this year. I don't remember his exact stats, but what do you kind of want to see out of him being a senior? He's been here 4 years now. Just what do you kind of want to see from him being in that power hitting spot?
Yeah, I think Hunter's really made a move as far as just learning and understanding what he is as a player and just more consistent at bats. I think that's the constant challenge for all of them is to be steady every day instead of kind of being streaky. He's really done a good job so far, fall ball and then in spring training, as far as controlling the strike zone. So I think he's kind of on the right track to get off to a hot start. But we're going to need him. I mean, we're going to need to lean on him and his experience, his voice. I mean, he's a coach's kid, likes to win. So, those are always good attributes to have on the front end.
Carlos again.
Coach, now in year 2 of Conference USA, you obviously took a lot away from year 1 and really solid league sending 2 to the NCAAs a year ago. Just some things you picked up from year 1 that are going to aid you here in year 2.
Oh, it's a good league. I mean, it's a very good league. It's a competitive league. Really quality coaches throughout the conference. It's different because you play people from all over the country, really. So everybody kind of has different styles of a game that they try to play. But it's an older league. It's an experienced league, and there's every weekend you have to play well. It's going to be a 3-game series, a 3-game war. And the trick to it is just continuing to try to get better each series that you go out there, and I think everybody in the league's the same way. But it's a dogfight every year. And, this year we're going to 27 games. Last year was 24, so it's not going to be quite the sprint that it was last year, but still kind of a sprint. And, those are the challenging things that once that game's over in this league, you have to move on to the next one. It doesn't matter whether you win or you lose. You've got to get to the next game and stay healthy, stay consistent the best you can, and understand that sometimes those games are won or lost earlier in the game. I think bullpens are a lot deeper throughout the league, and so sometimes you have to make those decisions early in the game because that might be where you have a chance to win or lose it. But it's consistent. Everybody through the league is highly competitive. They're very invested in the sport, which is exciting. Nowhere that you go that you're not going to know that you're in for a dogfight in it.
Another one from Colton.
Yeah, I was just curious on the addition of Easton Lloyd to the coaching staff, what he's kind of brought, and going from the field to in the dugout full time.
Yeah, I mean, Easton, he's going to be a really good coach. He's getting his feet wet. We kind of tell him he's starting in the mailroom. He has to do kind of everything that at some point our entire coaching staff has done, but he dives in it with both feet and has no problem doing it. Hard-working kid. He coaches a lot like he plays. I mean, it's just, here I am to go to work. What can I do? How can I help you? But he's going to be a good one. It's been fun to have him in staff meetings and those kind of things, just to watch him kind of think the game from a player's perspective still. We kind of lean on that side of it.
Like, you got another one, Colton?
Yeah, I was just going to say, 5th year here at Sam, I think I'm not great at math, but opening day is always special. And just, do you still get those butterflies, or, what does opening day just mean to you?
Oh, there's always the jitters in your stomach. You never really know what's going to happen. You feel like you've put the work in. You feel like you're prepared. And then it's time to kind of soak it in. I always I tell our guys, like, take a step back, look around, take in the sights and the sounds. And there's a lot of people. Be thankful to all those people that have helped you get to this spot in life. I think as coaches we have to do that as well. We have a very good fan base. We're fired up to see them get out here and support us. And, but the nervous side is you just never know until the lights turn on. And you got baseball, and you can't wait to play again. And I think it's the beauty of the game. You don't have to wait 7 days to play, or 4 or 5 days. You get to play again tomorrow. So it's a marathon, and you just you try to stay steady Eddie as best you can. But that opening weekend is always special.
Anything else before we let Coach get back to it? Yep, Colton, so you can raise your hand again.
Is there just any thought on who could be kind of the Saturday, Sunday guys for you yet?
Well, I mean, we're going to see how this thing goes. Yeah, Petey's going to go out on Friday. I think we're going to probably go with Tate Hickman on Saturday. The freshman. depending on how that thing goes or what it looks like, I think Cole Marthel Johnny's in the conversation, Devin Bennett's in the conversation, Felix Sled's in the conversation. But really, we've got to piece it together, and we're treating this thing like it's a conference series in May. You got to do whatever you can to win on Friday night. Obviously, Saturday's the money game. You either have a chance to win the series or get back in the series. And then Sunday, we're going to go with what we think we have left, and I can promise you this, thankfully the titles aren't made in February, and it's going to be a little bit of time here for us to figure out who falls into what roles. But these guys are all going to be available. They're all going to be ready to go.
All right, one last question. We'll get it from Carlos, and then we'll let Coach get off.
Coach, you beefed up the schedule this year. You're going back to Frisco, taking on some ranked opponents like Nebraska and LSU, and 3-game series with Oklahoma on the horizon as well. Just how's that going to be a big benefit to you to really see some power programs in the country, and how it'll be big for your guys to just get that experience?
We've always played hard schedules, and we feel like the more battle-tested or gristled up you are, it puts you in a position to be really good in May and June. It all depends on how we handle it, how we respond to things. You get off to a hot start, can you just stay the course? If you get off to a rough start, can you just stay the course and continue to get better? And I think that's always the challenge in this game. Whether you're playing a hard schedule or a soft schedule, we know we're going to get everybody's best shot, and we can't wait for those opportunities. And most of our players, they came here because of those things. They came here and they wanted that opportunity to play against some of the best teams in the country. And, all those experiences only gristle these guys up and make them better.